what's good, y'all? It's your boy J Suave. I'm the host of J Suave TV. In this video, I'm here to talk about Good Boy. Now, the Good Boy movie officially dropped this past Friday. I'm not gonna lie, similarly to Weapons, I was very excited to see this movie. I was really curious to see what the director was gonna do with this dog and have it be the main character of this movie. And from that regard, I can say I left the theater pretty pleased by the dog's performance and only the dog's performance. All right, a lot about only the dog's performance. Shout out Indy. The owner gets some love too, some very little for his interactions with Indy, but the owner himself, I cannot defend that man or the actions he took in this movie. We gonna talk about. Before I get into this review though, you already know what y'all gotta do. Go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. Literally a handful of followers away from 600 followers on TikTok and 21 subscribers away from 300 subscribers on YouTube. Help a brother out, man. It's my birthday month. My dog just turned 4 on Friday when this movie dropped. Do us that favor, man. Let's make this October a great one. I don't usually do my movie reviews like this, but I want to start off with what I actually liked about the movie before getting into what I didn't like. Biggest credit I have to give in this movie is Indy, the main character. This dog's acting chops are OD. Talk about this dog is better than some human actors. Obviously, this movie is not the longest. It's only an hour and 13 minutes, but Indy is doing something in damn near every minute of this movie. So much so to the point where the owner is literally a side character. It's inconveniencing Indy because you put Indy in a situation that the dog does not need to be in, but we gonna get into that. I don't even know how to describe it, but the way Indy was reacting to some of the horror elements that were displayed in this movie, the patience that the dog had, seeing his tail go down when she was about to get dicey. There's this scene where the owner leaves Indy in the house, and Indy, knowing that the house is haunted as hell, really the area that they're living in being haunted as hell, because as if it's not bad enough that they're living in this murder home, they're living in a cemetery with all this man's relatives that have died living at this house. In this scene, Indy is just yelling, trying to get the owner to come back so that they can get the hell up out of here. What do you mean you going back into town and you'll be back? Brother, this town is clearly haunted. I just want to applaud Indy for keeping me entertained throughout. There were many scenes where I had to question exactly what was going on, none of which are the fault of Indy. I feel like this dog really did put on a class performance throughout. I also really liked how the movie leaned into the relationship between Indy and his owner. Played up many real themes between an owner and their pet, showing the ups and downs of being a pet owner, the genuine love between man and its best friend in the case of this movie. How Indy is someone that the owner can constantly lean on and know will be there when they are going through what they go through in this movie, no matter how much that owner does not want them to be there. That's just how dogs are, bro. Any dog owner knows your dog is loyal to the soil if they've been around for long enough. And I think the movie does a great job of showcasing that between the owner and Indy. Another thing I liked about the movie is how the movie went about showcasing Indy as the main character. A lot of times in this movie, you see Indy looking into the owner's face or in the direction, and their face is blurred out, shadowed, whatever. We don't really get an idea of what the owner looks like up until the very end of the movie, which was also a question because I'm just like, why go through this whole movie and not show what the owner is gonna look like just to then switch it up in the end? So yeah, big up to Indy for carrying this movie, but now we're gonna talk about things that I did not like about it. Starting with the reason behind the owner choosing to live in their relative's house to begin with. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't really pick up on any type of relationship between the owner and their father or grandfather before they moved into this house. For him to have felt like this was the only place that he and Indy could move into. On top of that, the fact that the owner was even able to make this clearly reckless decision after just getting out of the hospital from suffering from, I don't even know what he was suffering from at the beginning of the movie, only to have been saved by his sister who brought him to the hospital, and then literally a couple seconds after the fact, we see him and Indy heading over to this house in the rain, in the dark. I also don't think the movie took into account how much time passed between him being in the hospital and him going to this house. So even if a significant amount of time did pass, the movie didn't show that, and Vera, his sister, did not make it seem like a significant enough time passed. You'd be wanting to move you and your dog into this clear haunted house that's in the middle of nowhere. We'll see throughout the movie that it does a terrible job of explaining what exactly is going on. There'll be times where the movie is trying to expand on the story of the owner, and then Indy will have to go into this room or go somewhere else away from where the conversation is happening because this house is clearly haunted. Indy's main role in this movie, as it should be, is to protect their owner who clearly does not know any better. When Indy leaves the room, we don't get any more lore expansion on the owner, why he chose to come out here, what his relationship is to his father. We're just left to assume at that point. Also later find out pretty early on in the movie that a lot of this owner's relatives have passed away at this very house at a young age. Bro in this movie can't be nothing over 30 years old. So you like what? Like you trying to fall into the statistic? Like of all places you could have went to, why would you choose to come here? Even if you wanted to start over, bruh, the history, it just don't line up for you of all people to want to move in here. Really, whatever is killing your family has a vendetta with the family. So you coming here like, what did you think he was gonna do? I asked the dog in the middle of the movie, am I tripping? This is a good place, right? Like, we could really make a life here. Indy's silence should have told you everything you needed to know, brother. That was not a cosign. They wanted you to get the fuck up out of here. I know bro's a grown-ass man, but I'm just surprised that his sister didn't try to intervene more in this movie. Asking him for permission to check up on him, like, that's the least you can do. He's in the middle of nowhere. As far as we know, the sister didn't know the dude was laying down the fox trap, so she didn't even have him watching him. Every time Foxtrot Man and the owner linked up in the movie, it was just off straight coincidence. It also just feels like Foxtrot Man was thrown into the movie as a way to throw the viewer off from who is actually causing everything that's going on with the owner to happen in this movie. I'm not mad at that direction, but they end up not doing anything. And the fox trap that he's constantly warning the owner and Indy about doesn't even really do much in the movie. I go loud, I was thankful that it wasn't like no bear trap kind of trap, like it was just a snare. I just really did not want to see this dog get hurt by any means, but hurt anybody else in this movie, just keep the dog safe. Let's try to talk about the monster that's also very poorly explained in this movie. Who is this monster? What is this monster? What is his beef with this person's family? We don't know. We don't learn any of that in this movie. The only bits of flashback we get in this movie are from the tapes that the owner is watching from his father or grandfather, I'm pretty sure it's his father, of his time at this house, which he did not like either. So much so, in fact, that bro actually died here with his other dog, who Indy is constantly hearing barking from the bottom of the house. We later find out that this dog is dead. And Indy's about to meet the same fate, being locked down there after trying to save his owner's life yet again. Getting into the house after his owner somehow found it in the middle of the woods, trapped by the fox trap, only to bring an unconscious Indy back to the house and have it chained to this dog house outside in the middle of the rain. Now, obviously, at this point, the monster is controlling the owner, but like, for what reason? There's so many times in this movie where it feels like Indy leaves the side of its owner to go downstairs to check out some spooky shit happening. And there's this one time that happens where this shadowy creature is walking across the floor, ends up banging his head against the door, and you find out that it was the owner the whole time. But didn't Indy just leave you in the bed? I'm confused. Like, when I tell y'all we get no expansion on what this monster is doing here, why it's doing it for, I promise I'm not exaggerating. I'm telling y'all this, and I wanted this movie to be good. And then there's also slow bits where we have a door locked and Indy cannot do anything about that because Indy's a dog. So he has to wait for somebody to initiate some contact, unlock the door so that he's able to do anything. I mean, there's this one time Indy jumps out of a window in order to try to get help for his own. But it only happens one time. Every other time Indy's trapped behind the door, what can it do? When it's trapped in the cellar at the very end of the movie, it's literally because of Vera that Indy was even able to survive. So then that slows down the movie. And then in general, the decisions of the cast that we have around Indy, I just don't know what bro was thinking. And we don't really get enough of his history for me to call him a self-destructive character necessarily. Like, yeah, as the movie progresses, he's going through it more and more with his sibling, but can we attach that to the monster or just their dynamic? What is it exactly that's causing bro to get sick like this? In his timeline and his father's timeline, we get no indication of what exactly it is. We just know it's something spooky walking around the house. That's it. Lily is able to possess his body, but not all the time. In the scene where the owner is face to face with whatever entity is haunting them, clearly not controlling him, then it drags him down to the cellar where Indy is trapped by the end of the movie. I think the most frustrating part about the movie is understanding why the owner chose to come out here of all places. Like, how bad could things have been with your sister for you to not just want to move in with them, as opposed to coming out here in the middle of nowhere that has a bad history related directly to your family, where people in your family die young. Even if you want to say the movie's trying to depict the message of how dogs sometimes look out into space, they bark at things that aren't there to our eyes, and how we as human beings are naive to those acts from our beloved animal. That alone is not enough, because bro had a whole decision to come out here that we have no build up toward, and chose to stay out here when he seen things was getting bad. Not just for him, for his dog. He opens the basement door and sees that his dog has been there for the entire night before that. Dirty as hell, you gotta clean it in the bathtub, and while you cleaning the dog, you throw up blood in its face. Even after this, you thought it was a good enough spot to stay at, to the point where you're now rearranging your bedroom. Include all these plants, you're burning sage. Like, you knew there was some demonic shit going on here, and you still chose to stay. And the worst thing about it all is you told your dog multiple times this movie to stay put, knowing how dangerous this area was. Yeah, it's just an L owner. It's an L movie. And I gotta be fair. Look, I love Indy. I love that this horror movie has been following other horror movies in the sense of being different, having the dog be the main character, but it just fails at so many other levels. And Indy can only do so much. I gotta give the movie a 3.5 out of 10 rating. If you've seen Good Boy, let me know if I'm tripping. Let me know if there are things in this movie that I missed. But off that first watch, I cannot recommend you go see it in theaters, bro. Wait for it to touch streaming. Again, shout out to Indy the dog, but this movie sold it so many different times. Shout out to Bear for finding this dog by the end of the movie. If Indy ended up like how the past owner's dog did, I would have ride it.